guys? So today's video is going to be a video that I've seen circulating around YouTube in my periph for, I don't know, maybe a month or so now, and that is the makeup I would have if I weren't a beauty YouTuber, or if it's like, I've also seen versions of this where it's like realistic makeup collection. Now, in all fairness, I feel like a lot of my videos are very much so in service of trying to illuminate for you guys what actually is a realistic amount of makeup and what to look for and the things that I gravitate to. So depending on how much you watch me, this video might be full of fun surprises, or you might have heard me talk about this stuff a million times. Who knows? We'll see. You guys know I did a big declutter this year on my channel, and you've been asking a million times to see what I'm keeping. I'm still not in a position where I'm ready to show you guys that quite yet, because if you haven't noticed, the background has changed, and that's because I'm getting rid of my vanity and changing that whole setup. And once that is completed, and it's gonna take a while because I've got a lot of work to do, I will definitely film what I kept, astronaut. But I will say, if you remember my old setup, I had a vanity behind me. I don't use pretty much anything you see on that vanity except for my little skincare drawers. Other than that, the bulk of the makeup that I use can fit on this filming table that is right in front of me right now. So everything I'm going to talk to you guys about today is stuff that I've been pulling from and using for, God, like 7, 8, 9 months, something like that. I'm hoping that whether you like the particular brands or types of products that I speak with you about today, hopefully I can give you some guidelines to take into the real world and help you make decisions about what is a good, realistic amount of makeup for you. There is one non-makeup related item in this video, and I will get into why that is momentarily. But first, I just want to say thank you so much to all the kind comments and support I got on my last video. In that video, I talked to you guys about my mother passing away. Though I've mentioned it a time or two on my channel, that was the first time I sat down on YouTube and really opened up about it. And it was really scary, and I really appreciate all the kind words. And I don't know. The internet can be really crappy sometimes, and sometimes it's really dope. Also, before we get started, make sure you check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms. Subscribe if you have not. Thumbs up the video if you like it. Come hang out on Patreon and check out my podcast, all of which also is down below. And yeah, let's just get started. So in terms of like a realistic beauty setup, collection, whatever, I think I want to talk to you guys quickly about those like massive makeup collections that we see on YouTube all the time from beauty gurus, and like their setups and their vanities and this and that. And they're super fun to look at, and I used to binge watch that content all the time of like makeup collections and just like salivate over them. But as someone who over the years has amassed a pretty sizable collection myself, including the massive vanity setup and the big lighted mirror, I can tell you, depending on your priorities and your direction in life and kind of what interests you as a person, you may or might not always or ever need that large of a setup. I've kind of complained about my vanity and how I'm trying to redo it and how I'm downsizing my collection all year. I think that's kind of been a hot topic for me. One of the things I'm getting rid of in that process is that big lighted mirror that like every beauty YouTuber has. You've seen it in my setup of the past few months on my channel as my background. And as I said in the beginning of the video, I've kind of switched this all up because I'm trying to change that. I want like a really cool, like vintage, neat 70s inspired mirror and vanity, and I don't really care if it's lighted anymore, because if I'm being honest, my filming setup does that for me. It just works out that way for me. I have this desk here with all my most used makeup. I have frontward lighting in the form of my ring light. Like, I just don't need a lighted mirror. I pretty much never use it, but I do usually, you know, under better circumstances, travel a lot. And if there is a situation where I actually do need some sort of front-facing mirror action, I'm gonna need something to replace what I've been working with. That's where today's sponsor comes in. This video to work with this company has been in the works for a while, because initially I was excited about working with them because I really wanted, selfishly, a travel lighted mirror. This is a travel lighted mirror, but like so much more. And as I said, if you're trying to figure out like what is a need to have thing in your beauty routine, I do think good frontal lighting is crucial. If you can't sit by a window, or you don't have like something other than your bathroom lighting to work with, then something like the Hi mirror, oh my gosh, Hi mirror would be great for that, because it is a lighted mirror, but it actually has a ton more features, which we're going to cut away to, and I will show you what they are real quick. All right, guys, this is the high mirror slide. This is the model I'm going to be demoing for you guys today. As you can probably expect with this type of mirror, there are multiple settings that allow you to do things like pick different environments to apply your makeup in. There's daylight, office, supermarket. You can even adjust the intensity of the light itself. You also have access to apps like Spotify, Pandora, Instagram, and YouTube on your high mirror. In this case, I'm looking at the YouTube app in landscape mode. The great thing about this, and what I think people who love beauty YouTube tutorials are really going to enjoy, is that you can very easily follow along with a makeup tutorial. The screen at the bottom, looking at yourself on the top, it just makes it so easy to really follow along at home. You can also watch YouTube app in portrait mode, but I think what's cool is using the HiTube app for portrait mode, because not only do you get the benefit of having the side-by-side mirror and screen, but you can exit out of the video. It continues to play in the background while you're able to use other features. So you can still listen to a video while you use things like the beauty box, which is one of the coolest things about it. The beauty box is a feature that allows you to search different products. So in this case, I'm searching a Glam Glow sheet mask. Once you find the actual product you're looking for, it allows you to put in information about it, which I think is great, particularly the expiration date, so you know when your products are due to be used up before they full-blown expire. You will have this logged into your mirror, and then also it shows you products similar to it that you might like, and then it also allows you to shop directly from this area, which is great if you realize you're running out of something or you want to replace something that is about to expire. I think it's a really convenient and super neat feature, but what makes it even better is you're tracking your products, and then you're also able to use a skin analyzer on the mirror to see how your skin is actually responding to the products and the changes in your skin over time. So this mirror is dope. So that is my overview of the high mirror slide. You can get yours at highmirror.com, and if you use code HIGHWHITNEY, you will get $10 off your very own high mirror. If you guys pick it up, let me know what you think. If you already own one, let me know what you think. But I'm pretty into this thing because the future is now. So as I said, this is a great option for travel. It's good for kind of the beginner in beauty or someone who just doesn't want their entire living space to be taken over with a beauty setup. This works for tons of things and it works really well. I love it a lot. You can get this at highmirror.com, like I said in the demo, for $1.99, and they've also hooked me up with a coupon code, which you can see right here on the screen, and it's also in the drop box below. Now, let's talk about some beauty products that you can apply using your new mirror, I guess. So I'm gonna try to go in some kind of rational order here, but no promises. And I thought I would start off by making a comment really quick about primers. I get asked about primers all the time, if I believe in them, what my favorite primers are, this, that, and the third. And I don't know if I'm the biggest believer in primers. I've tried tons of them over the years. Now, when I did client work on people as a professional makeup artist, I did rely on primers a lot more. And that was simply because I was looking at a new face and I didn't have the opportunity to walk through a good skincare routine to get their skin in a good place to accept makeup. But for me, knowing my skin, my skincare routine, how I take care of it, I deal with most of my makeup related skin type issues well before I sit down and apply makeup. So overall, I can't really say I recommend primers over skincare. That's really controversial. Some people love their primers. I'm not really one of them. The only primer I have used consistently over the past year or so, and this isn't even something that is always in rotation, it's just if I happen to pick it up and happen to feel like spending $30 on it, is the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream. But honestly, as much as I love this, I also use the CeraVe Daily Moisturizer on a regular basis to prep for makeup, and I don't know if I can really tell the difference. This is a nice product, but primers, I'm gonna say take care of your skin first, then mess with primers. Biggest tip I can probably give you in the makeup world, if I'm keeping it 100. So for foundation, I'm gonna talk to you guys about more types of foundations. I will tell you the foundations I'm gonna mention in this video are obviously favorites of mine, but they're definitely not the ones I'm gonna say you need to go out and get necessarily. So I think the first foundation you need to focus on having in your stash that's very useful, realistic, and you'll use all the time is kind of like your everyday foundation. And this can look different for everyone. You know, some people prefer something like a CC cream. a tinted SPF, a tinted moisturizer. You can always take your foundation and mix it in with moisturizer and make a tinted moisturizer. But just for ease of use, I'm gonna say an actual foundation for everyday use ideally would be inexpensive, because this is the foundation you're gonna wear every day. Now, I haven't had a regular 9 to 5 in a really long time, but I can tell you that even when I do have to be in a situation where I need to throw some makeup on really quickly to run out the door, I'm not pulling for my expensive foundation. I'm just not doing it. And drugstore foundations are incredible. So I would say get you a good, affordable, whatever that means to you, foundation. For me, my favorite happens to be True Match Lumi. It's beautiful. Beautiful on the skin. I also really like the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. I don't even know if they still make this, but it's beautiful as well. They wear really nice on the skin. They're very natural. They have a crap ton of colors, and it's good for all budgets. And then as you start to go towards other foundations, I think what you should focus on overall, honestly, is color match. Like, if you find a foundation that really nails the color, stick with it. I mean, as long as the formula is like decent. I care almost more about the color match than I care about the formula, if I'm keeping honest. But I think what you want, if you're going for something a little more on the high-end scale, something for like date night or when you're going out with your friends, like when you're really trying to beat, I would say everyone needs a sheer foundation and a more full coverage foundation. Now, disclaimer, I don't know if these two would play well together at all, because this is a face and body type makeup, and usually those are water-based, and this is aerosol, and I don't know what its base is. What I'm trying to say is you really want to find something more for full coverage and something more sheer, because what I think is ideal about having two formulas that are kind of on different sides of the spectrum is that you can mix them to varying degrees of coverage or finish that you're interested in. So if you really need something kind of full coverage, it's gonna last for a long time, you would have that option. This is the Dior Air Flash. It's not probably gonna be the best choice for everyone, but I think this is a little bit more on the full coverage side for me personally. And for more sheer, lightweight coverage, the Dior Face and Body, I didn't intend for these both to be Dior, they just happen to be. You really just wanna focus on kind of less on the brands and the price points of them, like I said, with the exception of kind of your everyday affordable option, and more products that you can manipulate in different ways. So a full coverage and a sheer coverage, I can mix together in different ways to get different finishes, different amounts of coverage, looks better for certain events versus others. Like, I don't think you really need any more than 3, and that's even pushing it depending on who you are, just probably not more than this. Okay, so now that we've talked foundation, primer, I'm gonna tell you some items that I truly believe you can buy one time and never buy again. This is really kind of the heart of the realistic beauty collection. There's so many launches that come out all the time, and I tend to sit them out just mostly because I am bored by them. But on top of that, because like once I find a product that works for me in certain categories, I just do not feel compelled to try anything new. One of those items for me is definitely concealer, and if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you already know which concealers I'm going to talk about, and that is the NARS Radiant Creamy. Some people are diehard for Shape Tape, some people love the Cover FX one, some people love Huda. Like, concealer is one of those things, I just am going to tell you guys a blanket statement: once you find one that works, don't worry about it anymore. You don't need to acquire 5011 concealers. The most realistic example of what a good makeup collection looks like for me is get those base products right and have more fun with kind of what I consider the accessories of your makeup look, which is lips and eyes, which we'll get into momentarily. But in keeping with kind of the base products consistent thing, you're gonna need a face powder. I think you only need one, and if I were you, I would get a good loose powder. This is the Hourglass Veil, cult classic, everybody loves it. I have a ton of powders. I've tried tons of powders over the years. There was definitely a period in my life when I was way more excited about them. Pressed, loose, shimmery, translucent, tinted, high-end, low-end, you name it, I tried a lot of powders. This is the only one I've repurchased more than once. Now, if you like a good pressed powder, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless is amazing, but you will blow through it like no one's business. There's not a lot of product in there, but this, I can milk one of these for like a year. So I would just say overall, a good loose powder is all you need. Depending on who you are, you may or may not want a contour, because I think personally we're kind of moving away from this super structured, harsh contour vibe we used to really be into. But there is something to be said for dimension to the face. Everybody definitely wants to have a little bit of life and attention brought to their bone structure. But like I said, I don't think a full-blown like contour kit, not that I'm a big fan of those at all. I don't think something like that is the answer. I think if you find a contour, you stick with it. And for me, I have been using the Fenty matchsticks for a while. These are really great because you can mix and match, mix it. Oh, matchsticks, huh? Maybe that's why they're called that. You can mix and match them. I have one for when I'm more fair and I have one for when I'm more tan. You can use these as kind of cream bronzers. You can use these as eyeshadow bases. Multi-purpose products are definitely the key when it comes to like realistic makeup collections that you can get a lot of use out of. So I say, once again, most of the complexion products, the trick is get one that works and don't look around anymore. There's no need. So in keeping with complexion, we'll talk a little bit about cheeks. For blush, and I think this is pretty evident based on how hyped up or how frequent you see blush launches, people don't really get that sprung about blush. And it's not because blush isn't like great to have and it doesn't do a lot for your makeup, but it's just not something that's highly discernible to the naked eye from one color to the other. So in other words, you can probably not even tell that I have it on. And you wouldn't be able to tell if I was wearing this mid-toned mauve dusty rose blush versus this mid-tone mauve dusty rose blush. I think blush is one of those things, like many aspects of makeup, that if you go through your collection, you'll realize you have a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. So my tip for that, for realistic blush collections, realistic makeup collections, is you really probably only need two. I would go for something a little more neutral, something softer, something a little more muted, and then buy one that's really, really bold. And this is bold for me. This is Gilda from NARS. The beauty of this is you can mix these together, or you can wear them alone and get two very different blush looks depending on what you're going for that day. You do not have to go for these particular tones, these particular brands, as is with every part of this video, but as a whole, something neutral, something bold, something pretty, something old. I don't know, it sounded like that wedding thing. You know what I'm talking about? Something bar, something blue. Anyway, you only need two. I wouldn't go any further than that. Let me go ahead and get out of the way the thing people probably really want to know the most about, which is eyes and what I recommend for that. I know a lot of people love eyeshadow palettes, like pre-made eyeshadow palette. And I've definitely gone through periods where I like certain palettes and I've gotten a lot of use out of them. But the only eyeshadow palette I would have ever recommended to you guys, hands down, that I think everyone can get a lot of use out of, would have been the original Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. But since we all know now, and if you don't know, I'll leave Jen Loves Reviews video down below. The formula has changed. We don't really know what this is, and I don't know if I'd recommend it anymore based on that, because I don't have any experience with it, and I don't know. I don't think it's up to snuff anymore. So since that's off the table, and that would have been what I considered a good universal, everyone's going to get a lot out of it palette, I'm going to tell you to do what I'm doing right now. Now, I do get a lot of use, and I know this isn't a popular thing you see a lot of people talk about on YouTube, but I get a lot of use out of 4-pan eyeshadow palettes all the time. My two most used palettes that I own are this one from Tom Ford. It's the Coco Mirage, which I think they have renamed to something else, and the Charlotte Tilbury Dolce Vita palette, which I also think they've named something else. That's actually what I'm wearing all over my eyes today. I get tons of use out of these, and if I got rid of all my eyeshadow tomorrow and only kept these, I could absolutely get the job done. I'm also not crazy adventurous with my eyeshadow these days. However, must say, pretty interested in getting out there and trying some new stuff. I'm feeling really creative. Anyway, what I think will work for everyone, and it's not something that companies put out very much except for Makeup Geek, but is single eyeshadows. I don't think you can go wrong with these, especially if you want something more pared down, more realistic. And the reason is you don't have to commit to anything you're not positive that you're going to use. So using the old school Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette as an example, this palette has tons of colors in it, but you can see that I really was only using 4 of them consistently. But if the palette was something I could repurchase, which now it's not, I would have to rebuy this entire palette to replace the colors that I'm actually using the most. Now, with loose shadows, single shadows, whatever you want to call them, I can use them all the time, and if this shade runs out tomorrow, I just have to buy this one color. And the thing with eyeshadow palettes that are great, I have tons of videos about eyeshadow palettes and kind of how to spot a good one and a bad one, which I will leave some information about all of that down below. We look at an eyeshadow palette and we tend to get really excited and think that suddenly we're going to want to do a teal eyeshadow look regularly enough to justify a new $45 eyeshadow palette made pretty much entirely of teal eyeshadow. But most of us are just not doing that. Really, all you need is a good collection of neutrals. I would say a light, medium, dark, darkest color for the crease in neutral shades. Those can be warm, cool, or more neutral toned. And then maybe a couple of pops of color. For the average person, that's going to be more than enough. And that is why loose shadows are so ideal. So I have the two Makeup Geek Matrix palettes. I use these pretty much exclusively, except for the Tom Ford and Charlotte Tilbury I talked to you about. And sometimes, yes, this can look like a lot, and most of us probably aren't going to need that many, but you don't have to buy this entire collection. You can get a small refillable palette. I got this one at Ulta. And eyeshadow palettes consistently are the products that come out that no matter how many of them come out, people act like it's the first time they've ever seen this shit. Particularly when you look at the lines of someone like Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath. Like, these are hugely expensive eyeshadow palettes, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them or say that nobody should ever buy them, but if it's not something you're going to use all the time, I just don't think you need to bombard yourself with tons and tons of pre-made eyeshadow palettes. I think the most realistic, if I wasn't a beauty guru, kind of makeup and eyeshadow setup I would get would be something like this, something that I can create tons of looks out of. And if I find that I never use one of these eyeshadows again, I just never have to buy it again. I don't know. Does that make sense? I just don't see a point in pre-made palettes, and I haven't for kind of a long time. If I had to throw out every eyeliner that I own and only keep one, keeping it realistic status, it would be the Inglot 77 Gel AMC liner. It is the best. You will have this absolutely forever, and it doesn't run. It's easy to use. It stays put on the eyes really well. Like, eyeliner is another thing. I think when people find one that they really like, they stick with it. And if I had to recommend only one, it would be this. Bronzer. Another thing I think you only really need one or two of. I have two bronzers I mix together all the time. It's the Hourglass Ambient one and this one, but I could totally get by with just having this one. This is the Becca Capri Coast Sunlit Bronzer. I like this one because of the tone and the formula. It's really smooth, seamless, blends really well. But I will say that in terms of like what I would actually probably do if I wasn't a beauty guru, what would be the most realistic thing for me would be the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow palette, because this I use mostly as a contour, but it's definitely also a bronzer, and it already has the highlighter built right in, and they're both beautiful formulas, and this is hands down the one contouring product I bought the most. I think this is my fourth or fifth, and I've been buying these since 2017. Love these. It's a really, really good option. It's not the cheapest option in the world for sure, but it's multi-purpose. It gets the job done, and it's sleek and simple, and it's a twofer. I'm not going to talk about brows because I don't really think I need to get into that. Brows are something that you're just, I don't think a lot of people are switching up and hoarding brow products. So whatever works for brows, I think, is kind of one of those things that whether you're a YouTuber or a normal person, normal because we're so abnormal, it's probably gonna be consistent. I've been using the same 3 brow products for years, give or take, and it's not really something I'm changing up super often. But I will say for my last point, we'll talk about lips, because unlike blush, where I said that nobody really gets excited about them or talks about them, lip products are the thing that come out all the time and people get stone cold crazy about, because once again, to the naked eye, it is very, very easy to kind of obviously discern a purple lip from a red lip from a nude lip. So it's kind of like, I feel like if your makeup, like your overall makeup routine is like your outfit, your lipstick are like your shoes. So people really tend to have a lot of shoes and people tend to have a lot of lipstick. I definitely have a lot of lipstick, but I don't use hardly any of it. In fact, I could have 2 lip colors, and we'll say 3 lip colors, and I would never need to buy another one again. And that's basically a nude, a orangey kind of summery red, and a classic blue toned red, and that is it. So for the nude, you guys are getting so sick of hearing this, but I don't care. This is the Christian Audette and Mel Thompson lipstick in the color Beauty. Y'all know, I don't know what I'm going to do when this runs out, but this is only to prove my point that once you find something that works for you, you just, what's the point in going out there and trying to hunt down more and more stuff? Like I always say, it's kind of like Tinder. Y'all just be swiping and swiping and swiping and you got wifey material at the house. Like, I don't get it. This is wifey material. I don't go looking for other nude lips. This is perfect for me. I didn't bring a blue-based red over here, snap, but I do really love the Juvia's Place. I think it's called Afrique. I love that one for a good classic red. It's so pigmented and beautiful. But for like my fiery, summery red, it's Morphe Hot Shot. I think I wore this about 175 times last year. And that's really all I need. And this is always going to depend on the person in question. If you're just truly a lover of makeup and you look at makeup as like art supplies and you just want tons of stuff to let you be creative and do this and that, then this video probably isn't for you anyway. But you can adjust this to fit whatever actually works best for you. I will say, if you are super creative with makeup and you just want to have more options, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, start looking into professional makeup palettes like Danessa Myricks. Even Anastasia Beverly Hills has a lipstick mixing palette that'd be a really good option to still allow you to play with different things without having to invest in tons and tons of different individual items. The Makeup Forever Flash palette, those items aren't gonna have like amazing fancy pants packaging and you're gonna have to get your hands dirty and learn how to use them, but you can still play with makeup without having to spend a mint on it, period. But like I said, this video was more for people who just want, like, if I wasn't a beauty guru and having the particular makeup style and taste that I have now, what am I gonna buy? This is pretty much it. I mean, I'm looking at it in front of me. It's really not that much stuff, but I will list everything down below and kind of break this down a little bit easier so that you can kind of get an actual visual idea of what kind of like system I'm recommending you guys use, in case I talked way too much and way too long and you kind of forgot what I said. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, like us all the patrons. I did a bunch of live streams with you guys over there last month for Patreon, and I don't really know what we're doing over there on Patreon this year. This month. I'm considering changing the format completely, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm considering making Patreon kind of like my like booktube, journaling, like more lifestyle stuff that I'm not putting on YouTube at the moment. Maybe I will eventually. I'm actually low-key thinking about starting a booktube channel. Like, would you guys come hang out with me on a different channel if I talked about books and like journaling and just like this other side of my personality that it's pretty much all the content I watch, just journaling and people talk about books, and I want to be a part of it. So I don't know, would you guys come hang out with me? Would you guys watch me if I did it here? Let me know down below. I'm super interested. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Again, thank you so much for all the love on my last video, and thank you guys for being so patient with me while I've just been kind of in and out of YouTube all year. It's been rough for all of us, I think, but I've been going through it. However, I am feeling a little better these days. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Check the down, bud. Did I already say? You can tell about our Brex. I gotta go. I will catch you next time. Bye.